Hey guys, how's it going? So let me just bring this up. So I can see comments and such. Turn my sound off. How's everybody doing? Hello, replay. So I figured it would be a lot easier to just go ahead and do this live. Otherwise, I don't know that I'll ever get this up. And I know I've had people wondering and asking about my Skullie collection for a little while since they've come kind of really rapidly. And I'll talk more about like Skullies and stuff like that too. Just like what got me into it and how I got started with collecting crystal skulls. Hey, yay, I'm so glad you could make it, Maddie. I know I do it usually like more in the morning, so not as many people I think can jump on at that time, but that's okay. You know, everybody can watch the replay, which is fun. Also, check out my awesome shirt, Basic Witch. I've actually had a lot of compliments on it today, so I'm really excited. Hi, Tar Apple. I'm so glad you guys could join in. So I'm just going to talk quickly on crystal skulls because I think most of the people that follow me also follow Jen from Willow Wind. So you guys, you know, most of you I think have already seen like her videos and everything. And just in case you haven't and you've stumbled across this video, I started collecting crystal skulls because of a video that Jen did, and she talked about how the crystal skulls are connected to like ancient energies and guides, and I had never really connected to crystal skulls before that, and and so it was kind of like a weird thing that I didn't really think too much about, but I really connected to everything that Jen talked about and understanding more about how there's like actually, you know, like guide consciousness connected to each individual skull. It's so I know it's super crazy. I really didn't think that it was going to be such a thing, and when I got my first crystal Skullie, he's right back here, and I'll talk more about him too. It really turned into this like this crazy voracious like obsession need of like connecting to all of these crystal skulls that I hadn't really, you know, if you told me a few years ago that I would be this into crystal skulls, I wouldn't believe you and I'd say that you're crazy. But it really is a very unique and amazing energy. And as soon as I got him, that is when just like my crystal collection exploded. I got him somewhere around the beginning of December, I think, along with two other ones from Sherry, who has Synergy as her ancient crystal skull. And so I got those three right off the bat. And then it was kind of like this, you know, inner knowing from the main guy that, you know, this collection had to explode and it was going to be, you know, the Crystal Skullie Tribe Army type of thing. And now I'll have to talk about some more updates since, you know, things have kind of changed too since that started. So I think I will move you guys over here and we can kind of get started looking at some of the crystal skulls other than just I have like this little book that I started taking notes in and keeping a lot of info. So like I have in this section. I know, right? Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how fast they just like want to accumulate. As soon as you're kind of like connected to that energy, it seems like you just attract them all over the place. So I have some things written down in here, kind of like from the crystalskull.com website, and that has a lot of just like what the different crystals are good for, and kind of like the different ways the guides that are usually connected to those will help, in addition to like their crystal properties and stuff. And in case you guys don't know, I created like this little crystal grid thing, so you can search for it in Jen's group, and print it out if you want to. It's got 13 sides, and then the Metatron grid also interlaced. So this is something I really like to use, and my Skullies love to kind of like congregate on sometimes. So I will, let's see. Did you take that? How long did it take me to make it? Or yeah, I created it like as a graphic, and then you can just print it out. Yeah, I know I didn't draw that. But here, let's scoot you guys over here. And then I think I can just turn you around. Let's see. Can I? There we go. Okay, so in just a second, I'm gonna switch you guys around like this. Oh. Okay, maybe. Sorry. There we go. Something like that. Be a lot easier for you guys to see than me just trying to hold them up. And I hope you guys can still hear me okay. So I'll start out with the first Skullie guy that I got, which is Malachi. And like I said, he came with kind of like a threesome, kind of from the ancient crystal skull. They hung out with Synergy. And honestly, like I know the tiny ones are so cute, and I thought that I was gonna get a bunch of tiny ones, but each one I was kind of connected to individually. With the 3 I have arriving, they are the same numbers, yeah. So he was the first one, and that's Malachi. And up until recently, he was the leader. And he was like, honestly, kind of just by chance that I ended up with him. He wasn't one that I was actually very connected to at first, but he just kept saying that he needed to, you know, come home with me. So I added him to the ones that, the ones that I had ordered, and they all came together, and he ended up being my absolute favorite. And I didn't realize he was going to be this large either. So he was kind of really like my first one, and he was the leader up until recently. And the ones he came with is this one here, this amethyst one. He's kind of got like this, to me, he's a very warrior spirit, and he's got that real look about him. So that's an amethyst one. I'm probably not going to say all of their names, especially him, because he's kind of touchy. Out of the whole group, he's the one that's kind of like the touchiest. All the rest of them are really chill. So those 3 are the ones, this one, the amethyst one, and the fluorite one all came together from Synergy. And I have a mix of ones that have come from Synergy and other places. So not all of them originally came with Synergy. Still searching for a rainbow flame one, kind of like this. There's one on Etsy. There's actually, I think there's a couple on Etsy right now. This is actually, so since I have him up, or her, I should say, this has been designated the new leader. It might be temporary. I'm not really sure. Yeah, like that one. It might be temporary. I'm not sure. He kind of just like, I think he overwhelmed himself. He was so excited to get, how much was this one? I think 114. So this is my most expensive one so far, I believe. But he's large, you know, it's like the entire size of the palm of my hand. Yeah, he's definitely the most expensive one so far that I've gotten. But he kind of decided to pass the buck off. I guess it just became a little bit more than he anticipated, leading everyone, and decided that he wanted to work more on like a personal healing basis with me. So I don't know if that's just a temporary thing that I actually need right now. Yeah, especially for the size, right? I know. Yeah, that's the thing is like it can get very expensive, but I feel like I've always been connected to the right ones at the perfect time. There's quite a few that popped up on sale and I found them kind of like at that same time. So, I mean, it definitely is like if you haven't gotten your first Skullie yet, don't force it. Wait for the one that feels right. Because after I got those three, I had never really been interested in them before or connected to that energy. And as soon as I did, it was totally like a light switch. So this honestly, like this whole thing is kind of more what he wanted to do more than what I wanted to do. For the first like I think like a month and a half, I didn't actually even get one that I was personally really wanting and drawn to. It was all based off of his direction. And this is also one that I got pretty soon. I got him around the same time as the other three. This one also came from Sherry's, and my son got a hold of this one, and it kind of like he kind of got rubbed or something. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but it does seem to kind of correlate with his like personality kind of a thing. So he doesn't really seem to mind nor care. Yeah, exactly. There's been like I have them kind of like laid out right now in like a bit of like a chakra kind of like gradient here where it kind of goes for like through more like root chakra, sacral chakra, solar plexus, and then lots of heart chakra, um throat, third eye type, and then crown. So that's kind of how they're laid out right now. And there's a couple that I've seen that are like that have like orange calcite and carnelian, because that's really the only thing that I'm missing here. And I had planned on getting one very soon, but when they kind of like did their switch over of leadership, this one really doesn't care to have any more come in either. So we're kind of sitting in, this is the first time in 3 months that I haven't had a Skullie coming in. The gold one. Oh, is it this one right here? The yellow one? He's the newest one. Or maybe not quite the newest one, but he's one of the more newer ones that I bought. Yeah, this one is yellow turquoise, and her name is Jade. And she's very interesting. She's got these carvings right here, and literally you can kind of set her on your fingers. And this is my husband's favorite too, out of all of the Skullies that I've gotten. He's obsessed with this one. Yeah, very cool one. And I love how her nose is basically like a perfect upside down heart. I wasn't very connected to this style, like the realistic type one in the beginning. I've been very connected to kind of like these, like, I don't know what you would call them, like a primitive kind of, like skull design. Those are the ones that I've primarily been really connected to. And this one was, I think, or no, because he was the first realistic skull. And then Julius, a lot of these I got during like Christmas time. So I had Christmas money. And this is one that my mom got me for Christmas. Also, focus, there we go. And this one literally is hilarious. He just honestly, as soon as he arrived, he made me laugh instantly. Like it was so, so funny. So he is a chevron amethyst, and his name is Julius. And he just has like he's a funny one for sure. And that's what I think is so cool about this, is that it's like every single one really does have like such a kind of like unique personality. I don't think my tripod will go any further that way. But so let's see. So originally, when he was the leader, he also kind of created like an inner circle of the Skullie army, being kind of like more of like what you would call like the elders, I suppose. And so that really consisted of the first ones that kind of came to me at that time, which were these guys. These are both also fluorite. This is Indian agate, and this one is ocean jasper. And one of the interesting things I find about the skulls too is there's a lot of them that almost like I just get like this inner knowing message kind of like, you know, some of the things that you see on some of them are ways that they died in their life before they kind of became like a spirit guide situation. That's just kind of like what I've personally got. But I've seen very many online that they have a very interesting look where like that's the kind of thing that comes across to me is just like that's what happened to them when they were alive. This one's kind of cool. I don't know if this one will focus. These ones are harder to get focused. But he's kind of got like this half and half, like green and purple going on. And that one has like the purple top. And then this one has like a purple bottom, which I thought was really interesting. So it's kind of like this perfect kind of mix that's going on. And then this is the other guy. So that was kind of considered the inner circle. And I think ultimately, like, there were some others considered like the inner circle. Like, I think he was also considered more of a like a guide ancestor. And also this one. This one I worked with a lot when I was doing my Atlantean and Lemurian Reiki course. I worked with him a lot. And his name is, I think, Oron. He very much is like very connected to like the Akashic records and like I think primarily Atlantean consciousness. And he's really cool, and he was really helping me out when I was going through that course, which was really fun. Definitely intensified the energies going on. So there's a few of these that I got at one of my favorite crystal shops when I was in Arizona. It's one of my places I go back all the time. Oh, they still have the tags on them. But they have a whole bunch of them there. Come on, focus. These crystal ones, it's a lot harder for it to, there we go. So this one's a smoky quartz, and I got kind of a whole bunch on that trip, which was really cool. A lot of them kind of like called out to me at that time, which was awesome. So smoky quartz, this guy's really cool. He has some really awesome flashes in certain places. It's a little hard to see since it's not very bright in here, but like I got him on that trip. This mookite one, the larger mookite. Let's see. Rainforest jasper. And who else did I get on that trip? Angelite. This angelite one. Come on. And, oh, this amethyst one here. So this one's kind of more of like a mishmash lighter. I don't know if this might be chevron amethyst. I'm not entirely sure. And I think that's all. Oh, and then I got this labradorite one on that trip also. And he is really pretty. I was really excited to find him because labradorite skulls are a little more pricey. He's got like some flashes in there. with the light. It's kind of hard to see how flashy he is, but you can kind of see some of it up there. So I was really excited to find him on the trip because labradorite ones seem to be a little bit more like few and far between. And then my mom got me also this one. This is a moss agate one from the same shop that she sent up to me for my birthday. So that one's a moss agate. And this one is sodalite. And then this is Francis. This is one my husband got me for Christmas. And he's really cool. He's got a lot different kind of like face construction. And then he's like really clear back here. And you can feel kind of like the bumps with how they hand sanded the back. Kind of how it's like a little bit more rough, which is really neat. This one was kind of an interesting story. I actually had a completely different one picked out, but apparently was not the one I was supposed to end up with. And so I ended up with this guy. eBay is not something that I love. There's a lot of crystal skulls on eBay, and that's where Sherry sells hers. So not a fan of the bidding and the things like that, but this guy ended up coming to me instead of the other one that was honestly very similar. And this one has tons of beautiful rainbow flashes in here. And this one, I thought I was going to primarily do some healing work. Yeah, exactly. And see, like when you pass on them, like you totally know whether you're connected or not, which I think is the awesome thing that, you know, they come when they're supposed to and all of that. So I ended up with this guy out of not thinking that I would. I didn't seek out him specifically, but he ended up showing up right when I was kind of like sort of looking for one that was in that type of realm anyway. This is also one that my husband got me for Christmas also. This is Paco. And he's kind of cool. He's got an interesting little nose. I like how high his cheekbones are. He's funny. This one is a jasper iron, I think. It's listed as red jasper, but some of the it's a little difficult probably to see because of the quality of the video, but there's a lot of kind of like marbly flashing of like what looks to me like iron. You can kind of almost see it right there. I hope in the video how that looks. So that makes me think it's kind of like a jasper iron type thing. I don't know if there is such a thing, but you know, that's what it looks like to me. This one and this one were actually my Valentine's Day presents for this Valentine's Day. They came together actually at the same time from different sellers, which I think is funny. They came on the same day. I picked them out, of course, but you know, because my husband was like, oh, I want to get you something. And I was like, honestly, all I just want to do is get Skullies. That's all I want to do right now. So they actually showed up at the same time. And this one is also from Sherry's. This is Epidote. And I really hope that he focuses because he's really super cool. Come on. There we go. Epidote is one of my favorite crystals. I know, isn't that funny? You can order them like sometimes like on different days or all at the same time, or and they just seem like they end up arriving all at once, which is so funny. So this is like the yeah. So this is kind of like, I don't know if you've ever seen Epidote or not, but the kind of like the darker colors are well, he doesn't want to focus anymore, but kind of like the darker colors are what would be considered like the higher quality of the crystal, or I don't know exactly how you would say that, but you know, like I guess the grade would be higher. Like I have some epidote right here. So that's one piece of epidote that I have. So you can see like this is really the majority of like the main part of the crystal. And then you get kind of like this feathering or confetti type stuff that happens at the bottom, sort of. But he is definitely a really cool one. I was really excited about him to come because I love epidote. Epidote is awesome. And this was one I was really excited to get that I just happened upon actually after I was reading on crystalskulls.com about blue tiger's eye. What did I read that I was so excited about? If I can flip open my journal and just see, because I wrote down some of like the meanings, because it's a lot to remember. I mean, there's stuff that I do know, but I'm definitely not familiar with blue tiger's eye as much as I am like some of the other ones. That's probably the first piece of blue tiger's eye I even have. I think it has a lot to do with psychic stuff. Let's see. Can I find intuition? Blue tiger's eye. Truth, inner truth, wisdom, balance, of course, because it's still tiger's eye, of course. And it has some protective qualities also. And since it's blue, of course, it'll, you know, help with third eye stuff and probably even the throat chakra, I would think. It's a very deep kind of like blue. He's definitely pretty neat. Wonder if I can open this window and get a little bit more light in here without blinding the camera. There we go. Since it seems like it got really dark really quick. So I think I've really gone through most of them. This one is, this is an apatite guy, and I got him from crystalskulls.com. So I have a pretty good mix of ones that, you know, just came to me either from Etsy or eBay or something like that, and then ones that hung out with Synergy specifically. And, you know, when you bring them all together, they all kind of, you know, come together as a collective and share, you know, some of those things with each other. So that's, you know, they end up kind of, you know, with the collective healing energy, you know, wherever they spent time at. This one I got off of Etsy. He was a little smaller than I thought, but the quality of this guy is just astronomical. I mean, the clarity is so crazy, and he's kind of got like this more like of a Mayan shaped skull. He's the only one that I have that's kind of like that, and I can't remember the shop name of what I got him from, but he also sat with what I believe is an ancient crystal skull too. I can't remember who it is specifically. Trying to think, because he has like I'm sure if you've looked up crystal skulls on Etsy, you've maybe seen the 13 crystal skull kits, and that is where I got that one from, not in a kit, you know, on his own, but he also sells these large 13 crystal skull kits where you have, you know, the skull in the middle and then the 12 around. And then some of these guys are just little ones that kind of came to me. This is a citrine one. It's got some pretty little flashes in there. I was a little bummed he came a little chipped. I haven't had many problems with that, but this guy was a little bit banged up. But he's still pretty cool. This is also one that I got from Sherry too. This one you're probably never going to be able to see very well what he looks like quality wise, but... And then this is Ruby and Zyote. And this one actually helps connect better with guides. So just having a ruby and Zyote crystal skull, can help boost the collective talk that's kind of going on. So they frequently, get arranged in different types of things. I have like this cool little, like, I don't know what you would call it. Like tray, some type of tray that I got from somewhere. I don't even remember when, but a lot of times they'll kind of hang out and congregate on here and chit chat, and sometimes I put like my little crystal grid down here, if they're wanting to kind of like amplify and send out like a specific intention of some type. So I think at this point I've gone through, okay, I haven't talked about the little crystal pendulum guy here. And this was something that I did kind of soon after I got the head guy. So, and it kind of helped me communicate with him better, to understand which like kind of Skullies were the ones that, he was connected the most to and wanted to bring into the space. So I ordered like this little fluorite pendulum, which ended up being perfect because it's primarily green. And then this is a fluorite, but it's purple fluorite. And so he's really neat, and he's like one of those little mini guys. And then the string of the pendulum is amethyst and aventurine. So that kind of helps me connect to that consciousness sometimes if I'm just like a little bit lost, and it helps. I've always found I've really connected to pendulums really well with my intuition and higher self and stuff, because it really helps like direct and focus that energy, and it kind of helps you get out of your head and in your own way if you feel like, you're kind of sometimes like maybe your mind is fighting itself sort of in a way where, you're not really sure. It definitely helps kind of, I feel like, clarify some of those things. This guy is also aventurine, and came from Sherry as well. And sounds like my little dude is up from his nap. Good timing, I guess, because I think we are done. So that is the Skullie Tribe collection. If you'd like, leave any comments and stuff down below. Tell me about your Skullies, or, any experiences that you guys have had, because I love hearing about the Skullie consciousness and the different experiences people have had. I had hurt my knee. I talked a little bit about this on my Instagram, but I had hurt my knee, and it had been hurt for quite a few months, and I placed him on my knee, and I actually, my knee had been so swollen with inflammation that I couldn't straighten my knee all of the way. So it was kind of like as if it was stuck like this, and it couldn't go like this. And the first time I put him on my knee, it was miraculous. I felt this very gentle pressure, and increase in weight enough to be able to straighten my knee down all of the way. And when I placed him on my other knee, he didn't feel any heavier than he did in my hand. But when I would place him on my knee that was injured, that I couldn't straighten, he would somehow help bring the perfect gentle force down to be able to straighten and stretch it out. And not long after that, I was able to, completely have my knee like better. So that was kind of cool. And of course with physical therapy and all that too, but I really attribute a lot of that progress I made to him. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. And I will be back with another video soon, and I will see you guys later if I can figure out how to